Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The 29th day of October. A month ahead of the time. Good morning. Welcome to the program. Let me start that again. 29th day of October 2025. Good morning. Welcome to the show. My name is Victor Lo. How are you doing? It's been a rainy day here in the city, and I know that has been happening across the country, even when the country is coming to terms with the loss of 11 tourists and passengers who died yesterday in Diani when the Cessna aircraft actually went down and exploded into flames, killing all the passengers on board. And of course, the aviation experts are probing what really happened. But some people would say that it was due to bad weather. Having in mind that Cessna is one of they call it a workhorse in aviation. It's one of the most versatile aircrafts. Our sympathy and message of condolence goes to the affected families. All right, so the show is packed. The team is here. The two ladies and one gent, no, two gentlemen and two ladies. I got it right. Ladies and gentlemen, elections across our border, and all eyes on Mama. All right, yeah. Mike, Tulia, let's start with them. Regina, all eyes on her, right?
Indeed. But the question is,
yes,
is the Republic of Tanzania, is it deciding or is it decided already?
That's a
I
good
think
question.
That's a conversation we're going to be having.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Is it? Take that again, Regina.
Is the Republic of Tanzania deciding at the ballot today, or is it decided already?
That's a good question. Yeah. Make a pause. Let it sink in. Now continue.
You see, before I hand over to Vivian as well as Mike, we have been seeing a disturbing trend, so to speak, across Africa. Just a few days ago, we had Paul Biya, the longest survey, oldest actually, survey president, re-elected, right? That is in Cameroon. And now members of the public are out on the streets.
He's 92 actually.
Disowning the results.
Yes.
Now we cross over to Ivory Coast. We have 83-year-old Ouattara, who was the only candidate actually, main candidate, all the democratic, or rather the opposition members or those who are running, including the former president, that is Gbagbo, were barred from running for office. And only 50.1, I think, voter turnout was registered in Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
And he's been declared the winner. As it is right now, members of the opposition have already denounced the said results. That is what is happening in Ivory Coast. So we have a situation in Ivory Coast, we have a situation in Cameroon. What situation will we be having just across, in our neighbor's compound? As it says, Sisi viumbe wa Kenya, we are just observing because we've been barred from crossing
tunatazamia tu.
Yes.
Letu jicho, as they say.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a historic time for Tanzania, by the way, because this will be the first time, I stand corrected, this will be the first time we're having a lady vying for presidency. Remember, President Samia Suluhu got the presidency after the death of the then president, the late John Pombe Magufuli. So this is the first time that Samia Suluhu is actually going to the polls as a presidential candidate. And you know, there have been competing narratives around the fairness of this year's election in Tanzania. This is after the detention of the main opposition leader, that is Tundu Lissu. So there's that narrative, and there's the question of how fair are these elections. Some people saying it is Suluhu against Samia. You know, there are different conversations that are happening online, and even in the papers this morning on our daily papers, there's that conversation as well. But well, Tanzanians are taking the polls today, and we definitely are going to be keeping tabs on that, letting you know how that will be panning out. Mike, what's your thought on our neighbors,
it's an interesting time for them, given that you look at them, what you'd say the main opposition is actually not within, it's not contesting, because Tundu Lissu had been jailed for some time, and also the opposition had been calling for reforms, electoral reforms within Tanzania, of which they think those reforms would have maybe bettered the electioneering aspect within Tanzania. And that caused a lot of problems because I think Tundu Lissu was the one who was spearheading calls for reforms. But then again, the law caught up with him, and he was barred from contesting. So whatever position that President Suluhu is facing today is, to many, is not as strong as it would be in normal standards. So it's going to be seen how this election is going to turn out in Tanzania. But we wish them all the best. Yes, we wish them all the best.
And on that note, I think it's going to be a hotly contested, hotly quote-unquote, contested election. So let's talk about that shortly. After Regina, I'll have Dr. Faraja Christomus, who is a lecturer and political analyst from Tanzania. He's also a lecturer at the University of Dar es Salaam. He'll be joining me via Zoom. And Ezekiel Kamwaga, who is Tanzanian journalist and political analyst, they'll be joining me via Zoom. Let's just have a quick rundown on what's expected across our border and what is happening down there, how they're seeing it as Tanzanians, and what we should expect at the end of this exercise. So that is coming up later on. Remember, we also have Wilson Sossion, Dr. John Erus, Deputy Governor of Turkana, as well as Professor Alfred Omenya, Principal Researcher and Consultant. All of them will be here at 7. Regina.
Well, as Tanzania goes to the polls, the question is, how will the outcome of this particular elections affect the relations within the East African community, and more so, relations between Kenya and Tanzania? We'll be answering those questions as we get back to just look at what is happening there. Now, talking about what is happening in real time, we understand that the Principal Secretary for Internal Security and National Administration, that is Raymond Omolo, is presiding over the opening of the National Examination Container at the Starehe Deputy County Commissioner's Office located opposite Kariakor Market. Our reporter Timothy Kipnusi is on ground. He's going to be joining us soon to just bring us up to speed and put into perspective what we expect as the national examinations, the biggest yet, or rather the largest yet, in terms of those who are sitting for this particular examinations, gets under. We will be joining him soon as we get him online. Now we start off with an update of quite unfortunate news here, where 10 foreign nationals and 1 Kenyan have been identified as the victims of Tuesday's plane crash in Kwale County. Of the 11, 8 were Hungarians and 2 were German passengers, alongside 1 Kenyan crew member. In a statement, Mombasa Air Safari said that one of its aircraft, registered numbers 5YCCA, was operating a scheduled flight from Diani Airport to Kichotembo in the Masai Mara when it crashed. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority has also confirmed the incident, saying the aircraft crashed at 05:30, that is 5:30 hours, with investigations still ongoing to establish the cause of the accident. Here's a recap of that report.
A cloud of smoke, twisted wreckage and scattered debris is what's left of a plane that had a group of tourists on board. Authorities are piecing together evidence that will assist in finding the cause of the deadly crash that claimed 11 lives in Kwale County. According to Mombasa Air Safari Limited, the aircraft was carrying 10 foreign nationals and 1 Kenyan pilot. The passengers included 8 Hungarians and 2 Germans. In the official statement, the airline says it has activated its emergency response team and set up a family assistance center to provide counseling and logistical support to relatives of the victims.
We would want to send our deepest condolences to the families of those who lost their lives in this accident. 11 of the persons who are in the plane all perished in the accident.
The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority said the plane, registered as 5YCCA, crashed at 5:30 hours, moments after takeoff from Diani Airport. Bad weather is touted as a possible contributor to the crash. Eyewitnesses say the impact was followed by a loud explosion.
Tulipofika tumepata moto unawaka sana. Hatukuweza kuzima huo moto, lakini wakati nakimbia kuja huku nikatoa hizi habari kwa assistant chief na chief wangu. Bahati nzuri nikiwa mbioni, admin wa hii wadi ya Timbagolini ya Miss Kenya, na yeye akawa na communicate na senior officers. Nikawa na yeye hapa, tukasaidiana tulivyosaidiana, na mashallah baadaye convoy yote ya serikali ya Kenya ikafika hapa.
This is the second deadliest air traffic accident since 2006.
May the souls of the departed rest in peace now. There are those who've come out to say they're blaming bad weather, but we're waiting for the official communication that ascertains, what exactly caused that plane crash, where all those on board perished. As I said, the national examinations are underway, and we're going to be joined in not too long by our reporter Timothy Kipnusu, who is in the Starehe DCC office, where we have PS Raymond Omolo overseeing the opening of the examination material there. We're going to be joining him as soon as is ready. Now, to matters graft, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has recovered a 2.8 billion shillings worth 7 hectare parcel of land that was previously grabbed from Karura Forest and the Kenya Technical Training College. In a ruling on the 23rd of October this year, the Environment and Land Court delivered a judgment cancelling the title deed of the land that had been acquired by Gigiri Court Limited, which obtained the property from the late Environment Minister John Joseph Kamoto, if you like, JJ Kamoto. He's said to have been allocated the 2 parcels illegally. With the case taking 18 years in court, the Anti-Graft Commission has reaffirmed its commitment to keep up the fight in asset recovery, even as it warned individuals to avoid engaging in shady deals.
After an 18-year battle, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has won a case that has seen the anti-graft body recover a 7.11 hectare parcel of land worth 2.8 billion shillings.
The first property that was illegally allocated was a small triangular plot that is inside KTTC, and then later on they grabbed into the Karura Forest.
According to EACC, the 2 parcels of land which were later amalgamated into one through amalgamation of Block 91 of 130, originally reserved for KTCC, and Nairobi Block 91 of 333, which was part of Karura Forest that was not degazetted, were illegally allocated to late former Minister of Environment John Joseph Kamoto, prompting the then Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission to file a lawsuit in the year 2006.
When the minister was allocated that parcel of land, he sold it to a private individual, a company called Gigiri Court Limited. The intention of that particular individual or other company was to set up residential houses in this part of the land. This is part of the college and also part of the Karura Forest. By our action, that individual was not able to construct those buildings that he intended to construct.
The court held that the land was alienated government land and its allocation to the minister was in contravention of the Forest Act and the Government Lands Act. With this win, EACC now says it will step up the fight against illegally acquired public assets.
It doesn't matter how long it takes. Like this one has taken 18 years, but we will eventually recover it back and hand it over to the public. New lease or title will be issued to the 2 institutions, this part to the college and the remaining part to Karura Forest.
We will continue protecting all the resources because, as you know, forests are very important as our water catchment areas, 1. 2, our biodiversity mainly is in the forest, so they are important for biodiversity conservation, and you also get so many goods and services from the forest.
The Commission has in the last 1 year filed over 80 recovery suits seeking to recover assets valued at approximately 4.8 billion shillings. Some of the concluded cases are the recovery of a road reserve land worth 30 million shillings that had been grabbed in Nyali, Mombasa County, a prime parcel of land worth 35 million shillings belonging to the State Department of Housing and Urban Development next to the Bungoma State Lodge. The public auction of 6 prime properties recovered from former Migori Governor Okoth Obado and former head of Treasury at the City County of Nairobi, Mr. Stephen Osoro, valued at 75.4 million shillings, and the recovery of public land valued at 50 million shillings, located within the Kenya Railways Lighthouse Kizingo Estate, belonging to the Kenya Railways Corporation.
Now, away from matters graft, would want to look at matters of health in a report that was prepared by my colleague, that is Joseph Wahungu there, where a new nationwide assessment of over 3,600 health facilities conducted in 2024 has revealed serious gaps in service delivery, staff shortages and accountability failures, including cases of negligence which have led to preventable maternal deaths. Speaking in Nairobi during the launch of the assessment report, Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale decried the increasing cases of maternal death in the country, terming them as unacceptable. The CS vowed to revoke the licenses of medics involved in the said cases.
Despite ongoing efforts by the government to provide all Kenyans with quality health care, a nationwide assessment of health facilities has unearthed shocking findings from staff shortages and absenteeism to inadequate medical equipment and unreported maternal deaths. The revelations were made Tuesday during the launch of the Kenya Quality of Care and Human Resources for Health Assessment Report, the Service Availability and Readiness Assessment, and the Reproductive, Maternal, Newborn, Child and Adolescent Health and Nutrition Investment Case.
I want to say that we are renewing a very simple promise, that every mother, every newborn, every child and every adolescent receives safe, respectful and high-quality care every time.
Findings from the assessment show that only 37% of facilities providing delivery services had all the basic obstetric and newborn care functions, while just 46% of level 4 and 5 hospitals could provide full emergency obstetric care.
Facilities offering higher levels of care than they are accredited to then may face challenges. They may not be able to have the right infrastructure, they may not be able to have the right workforce, and therefore the health outcomes may not be optimal.
Equally, laboratory services remain weak, with full hemogram tests available in only 57% of facilities and frequent interruptions of up to 39% reported. The study also exposes a serious human resources crisis, with the country's healthcare ratio to patients standing at 14.3 per 10,000 people, far below the World Health Organization's target of 23 needed to achieve 70% universal health coverage. Only 4 counties, Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu and Nyeri, meet the WHO threshold. The assessment further highlights financial gaps, rampant absenteeism of health workers at facilities, irregular supervision and a weak mentorship system.
And what we have proposed here is to establish a professional practice evaluation criteria that ensures that health workers' renewal of licenses is also tied to the outcome.
Of great concern too is the rise in maternal deaths, which CS Duale has termed preventable and occasioned by negligence by healthcare providers.
Mothers go to our facilities when they are very healthy, and they are going there to give life. Those mothers cannot and will not. It is immoral, it's unconstitutional, it's inhuman if we allow them to continue to die while they're giving life.
The Ministry of Health is establishing a digital maternal death reporting system to track every case nationwide, warning that failure to report will be treated as a criminal offense.
Away from matters health, we'll delve into matters education, and in not too long, as I mentioned, we're going to be joined by Timothy Kipnusu, bringing us up to speed what is happening in the various education centers there. Now, a university student has been arraigned at the Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi on charges of cybercrime and identity theft. The 22-year-old Mary University student is accused of publishing fake Kenya National Examinations Council papers online and being in possession of identity cards belonging to other persons. Now, the accused, Naisuma Crispinus Nambaf, appeared before Milimani Law Court's trial magistrate Ben Mark Ekubi, where he denied all the charges. According to the prosecution, between 2022 and 2025, Nambaf allegedly ran an online syndicate that published false and misleading information and sold fake Kenya National Examination Council papers to unsuspecting members of the public. The court granted him a bond of 200,000 shillings or an alternative cash bail of 100,000 shillings with the case scheduled for mention on Tuesday, November 18th of this year. Now, on matters claimants, just as I mentioned, this is currently ongoing at the Kenya School of Government, is that the government is indeed prioritizing the engagement of women, youth and marginalized groups as active agents in the green transition. During the opening Climate Action Summit, Environment Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa noted that the Green Transition aligns to the national priorities with global commitments to accelerate the transition to a sustainable, inclusive and climate-resilient nation.
Delegates and environment stakeholders drawn from across the globe gathered for a Climate Action Summit at Kenya School of Government in Lower Kabete. Under the theme Innovation and Inclusion, the summit embodies to drive sustainable innovation for inclusive growth and development and must be people-centered.
The outcomes of this summit will feed directly into our global reporting posture, showcasing the concrete progress Kenya is making in implementing its climate priorities, from clean energy transition to locally led adaptation and integrated river basin management.
In aligning with the theme, Kenya Environment Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa noted that the government has prioritized the inclusion of women, youth and marginalized groups as active agents to drive the climate agenda.
The ministry has scaled up nature-based enterprises and green jobs, targeting the creation of 500,000 green opportunities by 2030, especially for women, youth, and persons with disability.
The CS was keen to emphasize the need for African countries to support the setting up of the Africa Climate Summit Secretariat that will create awareness on carbon market, enhance support to ecosystem restoration, and implement African countries' nationally determined contribution NDCs.
Kenya's response has been deliberate and strategic, guided by the Climate Change Amendment Act 2023 and the National Climate Change Action Plan. We remain committed to advocating for climate finance reforms that prioritize adaptation and loss and damage.
This comes amid calls to forge practical partnerships, scale innovative solutions, and empower communities to lead.
But it is about creating systems that work, systems that connect national ambition with local realities and leadership vision with community action.
Together, we can strengthen institutions, mobilize resources, and unlock the potential of locally led action to deliver tangible results.
Talking about climate, before we delve into matters business, leading with matters of technology, is that Hurricane Melissa made a landfall on Jamaica's southern coast on yesterday, that is the 20th of October, as a Category 5 storm with 165 mph winds, triggering several flooding, severe flooding, landslides, and at least 3 fatalities so far reported. While cutting power to hundreds of thousands. There's a lot of conversation in regard to, is it man-made, is it natural? But as investigations continue, the trend on social media, especially on X, is pray for Jamaica. Now we head into matters business, and we start off with matters technology, where Kenya and Israel have teamed up to address the rising cybersecurity threats in Kenya. The two countries will collaborate on research and early warning systems to forestall cyber threats. Cabinet Secretary for Information, Communication and the Digital Economy, William Kabogo, says the partnership will focus on technology transfer, allowing Kenyan engineers to co-develop and develop Israeli-grade defense tools in national policies such as Konza Technopolis. I was there on day one, and this is a report. Has seen an upswing in cyber attacks in the recent past, targeting public sites and financial institutions like banks and SACCOs. This has resulted in huge losses, with experts hinting at losses running into billions of shillings. Data from the Communication Authority shows that cyber threats doubled from 3.5 billion to 8.6 billion attempts by mid-2025. The report further revealed that system vulnerabilities and web application attacks remain the top threat vectors targeting Kenyan organizations, with AI-driven phishing, deepfakes and insecure IoT devices making it easier for attackers to scale and harder for traditional defenses to counter, with fewer than 2,000 trained professionals graduating annually against an estimated demand for 44,000 positions.
These investments are unlocking innovation, entrepreneurship, and service delivery at a scale. Yet, with this transformation comes an equally growing responsibility to ensure that the foundations of our digital economy remain safe, trusted, resilient, and cybersecurity has therefore emerged as a defining element of our national security.
And the whole ecosystem needs to be secure. Every weak link can affect all of us. So this is why we invest in training for our partners, customers, and academia, as well as the world's raising efforts.
To address this, Kenya is leveraging Israel's technical expertise, local university partnerships, and a new emphasis on proactive digital resilience.
I think that one of the biggest challenges or biggest opportunity that stands before Kenya is to become the cyber center of Eastern Africa, or maybe of Africa as a whole. And if you look at the Israeli model, how Israel has positioned itself as a major cyber security center in the world, Kenya can do that as well.
Information Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo says the country's cybersecurity strategy hinges on collaboration among government, academia, and the private sector.
Quantum computing is coming, make people aware, have partners who have developed to come and share their knowledge so that we also learn.
As such, government as well as private sector has said that it is time that Kenya had a collaborative engagement. Various programs that put together government, private sector as well as academia to ensure that Kenya builds the requisite capacity as it gravitates towards embracing more technology and working towards realizing its dream of being the Silicon Savannah of sub-Saharan Africa. I'm Regina Manyara reporting from the Kenya School of Government of the Cybersecurity Week. Indeed, as I mentioned, I was keeping tabs on that particular conference that began yesterday and is going to run up until Thursday, with a keen interest in seeing how Kenya can leverage on its partnerships, especially with Israel, heavily borrowing on its Helix model that combines government, private sector and academia to plug in onto the cybersecurity sector in light of increased cyber threats there. A jump of over 50% from last year between January and June, from 3.5 billion threats reported to 8.6 billion threats reported during the same period between January to June 2025. That takes us to sports. And the Harambee Starlets will make a return to the CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations after a 4-1 aggregate win over Gambia. The second round leg played at the Stade de Dior in Senegal. Now, the leading 3-1 after the first leg played at the Nyayo National Stadium last Friday, experienced Mohamila Adam, aka Dogo, scored a header in the 56th minute to give the Starlets a 3-goal cushion in a 4-1 aggregate win that guaranteed them a place in next year's Women's Football African Showpiece. after their debut in Cameroon in 2016. Now, the results come in with a bonus of 1 million shillings for every member of the Harambee Starlet squad from President William Ruto for qualifying for the Morocco 2026 with a win away from home in the second leg. In the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations will be hosted in Morocco in March the 17th all the way to April the 3rd. That puts a cap on matters in the headlines this morning. Remember, some of the developing stories that we are going to be keenly focusing on is a status report of the national examinations that are currently underway. We're expecting a link from Timothy Kipnusu, who is crisscrossing the Central Business District and Nairobi environs to just bring us up to speed in how it looks like. We're also going to be keenly monitoring what is happening across borders, and we're talking about elections that are taking place from today in the Republic of Tanzania there, amid a lot of debate both on mainstream as well as social media. We're also expecting to have a brief, or rather some of the developing stories. The president is in Rift Valley for a development tour, and we're going to be joined by Caroline Wairimo there, who is going to be keeping tabs on that with a keen interest on the last mile connectivity. So that's just but a sneak peek of what we are going to be keeping tabs on. Anytime from now, once we get that particular link on the status report of the examinations, we're going to be bringing you up to speed. But before then, we get into a conversation this morning, and Tanzania, the Republic of Tanzania, decides, or is it decided yet? Over to you, Victor.